My name is Jason, and this is Just Watches. Alright, today we are reviewing a Cincinnatus field watch from Cincinnati Watch Company. Now this is my first exposure to the brand, and I'm excited to get my hands on a watch from them. From their website, the brand was founded in 2016, with part of their goal being bringing watchmaking back to Cincinnati. They added an in-house watchmaker in 2020 and are assembling their watches in Cincinnati and also offering servicing, which is not something you see often from micro brands. So as always, we'll be doing specifications, pros, cons, and then if I think this watch is worth the money. However, before we begin, if you're enjoying the content of this channel, I invite you to subscribe, and if you like the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much. So price and availability. As of this recording, this colorway is sold out on the Cincinnati Watch Company website. However, the blue colorway is currently available, and the price for this watch is $350. So starting with the case, it's 39 millimeters in diameter, 47 millimeters lug to lug. It's 12 millimeters thick, and it has a 20 millimeter lug width opening. The case is all brushed, both on the top and the sides, and the lugs curve down with a very gentle slope. There is no chamfered edge on the transition from the top of the case to the sides, but the high polished bezel begins at the very edge of the side of the case. The bezel then flattens at the top into a brushed finish. I like this conservative use of high polish, as this is a field watch, and the brushed finish gives it a tool aesthetic. The brushing is also consistent with the end link of the bracelet. The 3-link style bracelet starts at 20 millimeters and tapers down to 18 millimeters. The solid end link has a decent connection to the head of the watch, but there is some minor play. The links are fully brushed, which I prefer, especially on a tool watch. The bracelet fully articulates across the back of the watch, and the articulation between the links is decent. The clasp is 20 millimeters and features a signed safety catch with a double push deployant. The clasp scissor is fully milled. I love the size of this clasp, but this is sort of the opposite problem of the watch I had on last week. The links are quite large and there are no half links, so 3 micro positions might not be enough for everyone to get the perfect size on this bracelet. Sizing is accomplished with screw links, which is an easy task if you have a 1mm screwdriver. Overall, this bracelet is fine at this price point, and I'm glad they include it, but I'm not blown away by it. The screw-in caseback helps with this watch's 100 meters of water resistance and is fairly sterile with just some information printed around the edges. This watch is powered by the NH38, so this is a 21,600 vibration per hour, hacking, hand-winding movement with a 42-hour power reserve and a stated accuracy of -20 to +40 seconds per day. However, in my experience, these movements usually fall between -10 and +10 seconds per day. This movement does not have a date, which is nice attention to detail as this is a no-date watch. The 7mm screw-down crown is wide, and that in combination with the knurling makes it very easy to operate the watch via this crown. The crown is also nicely signed. When rethreading the crown, the winding mechanism is not engaged, and the action of rethreading is very, very smooth. Also, since they use the NH38 here, there's no ghost position, which is, again, nice attention to detail. The double-domed sapphire crystal sits just proud of the bezel and has a very small facet around the edge. It's treated with an AR coating. I love to see both sapphire and AR coating on any watch because sapphire is going to be much harder to scratch, and then AR coating is going to help with the overall legibility of the watch. The dial is a textured matte black. Textured dials are starting to grow on me, and this watch has definitely played a part in that. Starting at the edge of the dial, we have a printed railroad track for the minutes, with military time and Arabic numerals at each of the hours. Moving in from this ring, we have applied Arabic numerals that are fully loomed. The 12, 3, 6, and 9 are slightly larger, which assists in orientation and legibility of the dial. At 12 o'clock, we have Cincinnati Watch Company, and then Cincinnatus Field at 6 o'clock. And that's everything that's on the dial. It's a very clean presentation, and I'm really glad they didn't try to sneak a date into this design. The hour and minute hands are a nice combination of sword and syringe style. They are both loomed and edged in gold that nicely complements the color used on the dial. Unlike on a few other watches I have recently reviewed, the hands are not diminished by being edged in black, and the minute hand is very long, terminating at the outer edge of the railroad track at the edge of the dial. The second hand has an interesting counterbalance, with an arrow and a red syringe tip. This very small splash of color is nice, and the red portion of the hand perfectly aligns with the railroad track at the edge of the dial, which is another example of the great attention to detail that went into the design of this watch. I love the choice of blue lume. Unfortunately, the intensity is not that great. As you can see here, it fades quite quickly. And here it is on the Timegrapher, getting plus 6 seconds a day, good amplitude, minimal beat error. And here it is in the crown up position, where it's getting about plus 1 to plus 2 seconds per day. And here is the watch on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. Great set of dimensions, as I said before, 39 millimeters by 47 millimeters lug to lug. It's a sweet spot, and then the watch is pretty thin. It's only 12 millimeters thick, so it is quite comfortable. I do prefer on the strap that you see here as opposed to the bracelet, but you're going to have a lot of options, especially with the colors of this specific colorway. So pros and cons, starting with the pros. Well, I love the size of this watch. It has a great set of dimensions, and I think it will be a great fit for a variety of wrist sizes. The dial is extremely legible, and the gilt colors give it a very vintage feel. There is great attention to detail in the use of a no-date movement for a no-date watch, as well as the length of the minute and second hands. Finally, a sapphire crystal and a bracelet are nice to see at this price point. As for the cons, well, I wish the lume was stronger. If you're gonna lume a watch, I want it to be very bright or not done at all. Second, there's a little lateral play in the bracelet end links, and I find myself enjoying the watch more on a strap than on this bracelet. It just didn't feel completely home on the bracelet for me. Fortunately, this colorway goes great with a wide variety of strap choices. So is this watch worth the money? Well, Cincinnati Watches is offering a watch with a nice set of specs for $350, all while assembling the watches themselves in the US. Outside of Notice, Vero, and a few other brands I'm sure I don't know about, very few micro brands are assembling watches themselves, which adds a degree of control to the quality of the product. While there are a ton of choices when it comes to field watches, I think if this design speaks to you, for a watch assembled in the US, I don't think you can go wrong here. So there you have it, the Cincinnatus Field Watch from Cincinnati Watch Company. What do you guys think of this watch? Let me know in the comments below. As always, if you're enjoying the content of this channel, I invite you to subscribe. And if you like the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. That's all for this time. My name is Jason, and you have been watching Just Watches.